Baker is on average holding the ball more than 3 seconds before passing, which is up from where he was last year. What are some things that you can do? And Freddie said that you're looking at ways to lower that number. You can do as an offense to ensure that he's releasing the ball a lot quicker than he has.
Sure, that's always something we look at, trying to get the ball in rhythm, quick game, rhythm throws. Some of that comes with screen game, some of it comes in the RPO world, some of it comes in scheme, some of it comes in protection. It's all the above, something we got to be better at.
How do you sort of, when you sum up Baker over the first 2 weeks, what can you guys do to just kind of get things rolling a little bit more, and how do you explain why things are getting off to a little bit of a slower start than you would like?
Well, first, I think he's played his butt off. I really do. I think he's competed awfully hard, other than the back end of the first game when we were down, and, that's his nature, is to try and make a play, but I think he's played awfully well. I'm sure he would say that he could play better, but in my eyes, there's a lot of things that go into that. We've got to scheme it better. We've got to play better up front. We've got to do a better job in terms of everywhere, route running, you name it. It's all of us to put ourselves in a better position to be more consistent. At times we've been choppy, and that's all of us. There's not one area, or it'd be fixed. And again, we're close. We just got to continue to build on the things we're doing every day, and then continue to get better at it.
What are the challenges at the tight end position now? And Njoku's injury and some of the backups.
Well, there's challenges, at any given position when you lose a player that's part of your 53. So, David, gives us a weapon vertically down the field that you like to have, and can be a matchup, problem for opponents. But we'll just have to, next man up, and Demetrius Harris, who we brought in here for a reason, and then, Farrell and Ricky will have to continue to improve.
Do you feel like you might have to go more 4 wide, or do you feel like with Harris you can kind of continue on with the personnel groupings that you?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's every team's a little bit different, in terms of how you game plan. Obviously, you're going to put the guys in a position where you think it gives you the best chance to move the football. So some of that, in terms of all of our skilled players, and then also all of our tight ends, as the week goes on, and we'll see where those guys are at.
A two-part question on Eric Kush. One, how has he played? And two, is he the character in meetings and on the practice field that we think he is?
I think he's played fine. I think he is what we thought he was when we brought him in. He's a good football player. He's a pro. He works awfully hard at it. Yeah. He happens to be starting at guard, but he also can play center for us, which is invaluable. You've got to have swing guys that can do that. So I've been awfully impressed with him. To talk about being a character, I'm not in that room enough to know exactly from a personality standpoint, but I like him a lot as a player and as a person.
See the snap coming as the play clock's at 3, 2, 1, or just right as it's expiring. How much of that's by design?
Well, none of it is by design for the most part to let it wind all the way down unless you're in 4-minute. I mean, you're not really trying to get up against it. And again, that's part of everybody. It's getting out of the huddle, getting up to the line of scrimmage, the communication from the quarterback from the sideline to the skill players getting lined up correctly to, if you're doing some things at the line of scrimmage, the skill players, we don't ask the skill players to look at the clock. So them getting aligned, the defense has something to do with that in terms of, in terms of what Baker happens to be seeing. We just know we have to do it better.
In addition to the production that Beckham had in the last game, how precise has he been in terms of doing the detailed things that you want him to do?
Been good. Again, he asks good questions. I mean, it's been, he's not afraid to ask, and he's not afraid to take coaching. He wants to do it the right way. He wants to win. He wants to have success, and him being in the right position where Baker can expect him to be is going to help that. So, he's a really, really good football player that you got to find a number of ways to get him matched up and get him the ball, which we've been trying to do.
McVay yesterday said he's unique, and I don't remember if he elaborated on how he meant that. But in your experience, is he a unique player to coach?
Well, I said it a week ago, he's unique in his skill set. Let's start with that. He's a unique skill set in that he can play wherever you'd want him to play with his balance and body control and acceleration. He can change speeds. He can track the ball. I mean, he's an awfully good football player, and he's an intelligent football player with excellent ball skills. So, you know, those guys are, you know, and he's competitive. It doesn't show sometimes, but he's awfully competitive, prideful guy. So, you know, we're excited. Again, we've just got to continue to find ways to get him the ball, move him around.
Yes, on him in terms of his supposed diva reputation in New York. And the way he presents himself to us, I mean, when he talked the other day, was very matter of fact and reasonable. But along those lines, has he been relatively easy or just downright easy for you to work with? And yeah,
It's not been a problem. I mean, there's been nothing. I mean, not with me, not with on the field, not with our coaches, nothing we've talked about that hasn't been, you know, get on the field, work, and produce in the games, and be attentive in the meetings. You know, to me, that's a big part of it. To me, is are you taking what we're talking about and the quarterbacks are communicating to you onto the field? And I've seen that.
What's the toughest part of preparing for a defense that has Aaron Donald?
Well, it just forces you to have awareness of where he's at all times from a protection standpoint. Run game as well, but especially how he creates lost yardage plays and in the pass game. So from a protection standpoint, you have to be aware of where he's at. But, you know, along with that, that starts with him. But then when you surround him with, you know, Brockers and Fowler, and now they picked up Matthews, and so you've got those guys up front. You end up having to pick your poison as to where you want to help. It's a tough battle. They do a great job of forcing you into one-on-ones up front. They do a good job of scheming up in terms of where you're trying to help to get guys in one-on-ones in terms of matchups. So every team has a way of doing a little bit different when you play teams that play the front the way the Rams do, and we'll have to change it up. And you have to find ways to help different spots, and then you got to be able to protect, get the ball in time. The one thing that helps you is if you can run the football. I mean, I've been down this road before when we were at Jacksonville, when we have to play the Colts twice a year. And the best way to negate some of that is be able to run the football and get the ball out of your hands, and that'll help you in terms of your play action game and stop getting you behind the chains and having lost yardage plays.
A couple more. What do you think of Nick Chubb's start to the season?
Been great. Nick's a fantastic football player. You know, I mean, downhill runner, threw a screen or two. I can't remember if it's a couple, but I know one of thought. You know, he's hard to bring down with one guy, arm tackles. He's usually moving forward. So, again, I think he's played fantastic, and I think he's only going to get better. We just got to find a way to continue to get him the football because he's been very productive since he's been here. This isn't anything new. This is just something we got to continue to get him the football.
If Hubbard can't play, have you seen enough out of Justin McCray as a right tackle to feel comfortable he can fill that void for you?
Sure, Justin's a pro. He's played in this league. He played pretty well against the Titans, I thought, for a guy that just got here that week. Really did. So, you know, we expect him to play well. And we'll, again, with all of our players, you're going to see how the week goes and where you think you feel like you need to help. But he's been fine.
Again, in terms of defensive coordinators having had a long time to prepare disguises and whatever for him, what about the thought that he's not as sure what he's looking into as to whether it's a man or zone coverage as he was when coordinators didn't have as much info on him? Is there a little indecision with him right now, and will that probably be cleaned up as he counter-adjusts?
Sure. I don't know if it's a matter of defensive coordinators having film on him as much as it is. There were a number of looks the other night that Coach Williams presented to us that got us either in a change of different things that we had to do up front. That is part of it. That's part of what you do when you're assessing what a defense is doing. So it's more of, and again, that comes with time for Baker, and it comes with us as well, as to what we're seeing and helping him on the field in terms of, hey, this is what we're getting. They're really not doing this, from an X and O standpoint. That's what you do throughout the game. And so I think that'll continue to grow with him and, as he continues to play.
37 years of coaching experience, what are some things that make Wade Phillips a difficult coordinator to prepare for?
Well, like most successful coaches, I think you're pretty consistent in what you believe in, and your guys get really good at executing that. And you can see that with them. I don't think they're overly complicated from where they're going to align and what they're going to try to accomplish. They're just really, really good at what they do. And the scheme doesn't come from, we're going from extremes here. We're going from playing the Jets, where everything is about disruption and chaos, and where you're going from much more of a execution style, matchup, one-on-one, probably in some ways similar to how the Titans, Patriots kind of, attack you. Not exact X and O's, but more along the lines of matchup-wise. And, forcing you into a lot of one-on-one blocks up front. They've gone to a little bit more with 5 bigs, with Matthews. So you've got, what the Bears did a year ago in terms of, a nickel 51. So now you've got, 5 matchups across the board. So it's getting matchups, doing the same things over and over and over, and getting really good at it is a pretty darn good formula to have success in anything in life. So that's the challenge, and now it's how we match up. And as I talked before, being able to run the football and stay out of long yardage situations, which we haven't done a very good job of. We've been good converting on third and extra long. We got to do a better job staying out of it.